This is the way of the righteous. So let's see, 46. The following statement without this introduction is found in Shabbat 88b, Yoma 23a, Gittin 36b. However, the association of these qualities with the righteous can be found in Sifri, Barim 11:21. Okay. So one more time, this is the way of the righteous. They accept humiliation, but do not humiliate others. Okay, so I mean, the way I see it, like as written in Slat Sharim and other book. So if you just know the reward, of course, you're not at that great level that you understand that Hashem is doing this. Okay, that's very good. But even if you understand just simply reward for you not answering, so that's also good enough. It's also a reason not to answer.
Right.
You understand? Don't start with a top. Just do what is makes sense even for your Yitzhak. They listen when they are ashamed, but they do not answer. Okay, 47. In chapter 5, Halachah 13, and Hilchot De'ot 5:11, and Hilchot Talmud Torah 7:13, the Rambam also refers to this passage. Significantly, in Hilchot De'ot, the Rambam refers to this as a pious behavior undertaken by wise.
Mm-hmm.
That relates very closely to the theme of this halachah, which speaks about adopting an extreme attitude regarding these two qualities of pride and anger. Mm-hmm. Not because one chooses the path of piety over the middle path of the wise, but because with regard to these qualities, the middle path is difficult to follow. Let's read this again, this sentence. From where to start? That relates closely. Okay, from that sentence. That relates closely to the theme of this halacha, which speaks about adopting the extreme attitudes regarding these two qualities of pride and anger. Not because one chooses the path of piety over the middle path. Just one second. Not because one chooses the path of piety over the middle path of the wise, but because with regard to these qualities, the middle path is difficult to follow. Okay. Perhaps this is Rambam's intent in describing this as a way of the righteous, instead of using the term pious or wise, which is employed in the previous halachah. We're dealing with a person who does not have a commitment to the path of piety. Rather, we ensure that his behavior will continue be righteous. He deviates from the path of wisdom to the extreme of this specific areas. So the wisdom says go in the middle. Middle is also good, but he knows that it's not good. He's going to stumble, so you have to be like opposite extreme. It was 47. Okay, so let's continue after 47. They do the no, does not make sense. So let's do from the beginning of the sentence. This is the way of the righteous. They accept humiliation, but do not humiliate others. They listen when they are ashamed, but they do not answer. They do this with a love. From the love and a joy in their suffering. Mm-hmm. Humility and suppression of anger. Humility and suppression of anger are not meant to be accompanied by gloom and depression. So that's the very hard part. I would say personally. One thing that you subdue yourself, you like you didn't answer, but be happy about it. That's a little higher level, much higher level, I would say. Rather, they are to be experienced as joy and love. I think even like if we do this just not answer part, that would be also great. Unhappiness stems from self-awareness. Very interesting. Unhappiness stems from self-awareness. The more one is concerned with himself, the more needs, wants, and desires he feels. And the more he's dissatisfied when those needs are not fulfilled. And that's very strong statement. Very strong, I think. So let's say it again. I mean, that's very strong. So from unhappiness. Unhappiness stems from a self-awareness. So meaning when somebody is not happy, so he expected expected more based on his self-evaluation.
Right.
I did just this and this, but I didn't get it, and instead of this guy did this and this. The more one is concerned with himself, the more needs, wants, and desires he feels, and the more he is dissatisfied when those needs are not fulfilled. And it's a very strong question, the statement. I like it very much. In a contrast, when a person arises above self-concern, the qualities of patience and humility become spontaneous and natural expression of his character.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read it one more time. In a contrast, when a person rises above the self-concern, it's like it's not about me, right? The qualities of the patience and humility become spontaneous and natural expression of his character. It is not that he wants honor and respect, but holds himself back because of the sages' advice, or would really like to unleash his anger, but realizes that doing so is wrong. Meaning that he is, it's the way I say, there is no emotions, that's pure intellect. Rather, one rises above these negative emotions entirely. In this context, so rather one rises above these negative emotions entirely. So now it's pure intellect. It's wrong. That's not what our sages say. It's not good for me. Right? In this context, Rambam describes in his commentary to the Mishnah, Avos 4:4, who is pious man? How a pious man was subjected to the lowest form of denigration by a colleague and was able to undergo the entire experience without a slightest thought of anger or discomfort. That's very strong. Okay, continue. Of them, the Judges 5:31 states, and those who love him are like the sun when it comes out in its strength. Next page. So it says the ability to rise above the self-concern stems from all-encompassing love of God. In Hilchot De'ot 10:3, Rambam states, what is the proper degree of love? That a person should love God with very great and exceeding love. He will always be obsessed with love as if he were lovesick. Lovesick person's thoughts are never diverted from the love of that woman. That's an amazing comparison, right? He's always obsessed with her. With an even greater love, should the love of God be implanted in the hearts of those who love Him. To continue the comparison, so I mean, he like that's how a person has to love Hashem. So it should be always constantly on his mind. To continue the comparison mentioned by Rambam, a person who is deeply in love is not at all concerned with his honor or pride. So he's trying to satisfy, to do everything possible for the object of his love. Right? Him himself is like is not the thing here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's willing to do many things which would ordinarily consider undignified to express his life. See Shmuel base, chapter 6. The same applies regarding the love of God, because one of one's a great love, he is willing to ignore his honor and control his anger. So because honor of Hashem, and that's what he told me to do, so I'm not going to get angry